Bruno Mars was born Peter Gene Hernandez on October 8th, 1985 in Honolulu, Hawaii, to his father, Peter Hernandez, and mother, Bernadette San Pedro Built. He was raised in the Waikiki neighborhood of Honolulu. Peter, his father, is half Puerto Rican and half Ashkenazi Jewish, which is Ukraine and Hungary. His mother, Bernadette, immigrated from the Philippines to Hawaii and was of Filipino descent and had some Spanish ancestry. They met while in a show together where his mother was a hula dancer and his father was the percussionist, due to his resemblance of wrestler Bruno Sammartino. Bernadette was a singer and a dancer, and his father performed Little Richard songs, which highly inspired Bruno Mars. His uncle encouraged Bruno to perform songs by Elvis and Michael Jackson. At only 4 years old, Bruno was performing 5 days a week with his family's band, the Love Notes. And he soon became known in Hawaii for spot-on Elvis impersonation. 1990, Mars was featured in the Hawaiian tabloid Midweek as Little Elvis and performed in the halftime Aloha Bowl show. In 1992, he was in a cameo role in the movie Honeymoon in Vegas. And he was then interviewed on MTV by the Pauly Shore. At the age of only 6 years old, he was brought on to the Arsenio Hall show, which was a major milestone at that point. As a child, he learned to play the drums, guitars, piano, and percussion. At 12, Peter and Bernadette called it quits, which ended the family band. Bruno moved out with his father and one brother. Broke and homeless, they lived in their car on top of rooftops and in the zoo his father worked at. While attending high school, Bruno was in a band called the Schoolboys, and after hearing Bruno's demo, Mike Lynn summoned Mars to Los Angeles. In 2003, at the age of only 17, Bruno left Hawaii for Los Angeles. He chose his last name Mars because he wanted people to know he was out of this world. He was from Mars. He also changed it to Mars to avoid being stereotyped because the music industry wanted to brand him as the newest Latino artist and have him sing in Spanish, which he was highly against. In 2004, Bruno Mars signed a recording contract with Motown Records. The deal actually went nowhere. He was then dropped from Motown less than a year after signing. He then stayed in Los Angeles and signed a publishing deal in 2005 at Westside Independent, which is a label songwriting unit. Philip Lawrence was signed to it as well, and Lawrence first denied to meet Bruno Mars. Black Eyed Peas' drummer Keith Harris practically begged Philip to spend his last dollars to come up and see Bruno in action. In 2006, Lawrence introduced Mars to Aaron Bay Shuck at his future label, Atlantic Records. After Mars sang a couple of songs with the guitar, Bay Shuck wanted to sign Mars immediately. But it took another long 3 years for Atlantic to finally sign Bruno. Before becoming the Bruno Mars everyone knows now, he was a producer and wrote numerous songs for many successful solo acts. Alright, Bruno Mars' first album, Doo-Wops and Hooligans. That was released in 2010 from Atlantic Records. It was number 3 on the Billboard Top 200. It is 6 times platinum in the United States. There was only 6 singles released from Doo-Wops and Hooligans, but only 4 were ever released in the United States. Now, as I look at this album, I'm thinking, okay, it's a guy that is kind of a Michael Jackson-esque type of feel, but he's also a newer type of Michael Jackson. He's also Bruno Mars is an own, I'm trying to think of how to say, he's his own kind of greatness, because Bruno Mars, in my opinion, is one of the best singers that is in the music business and the music industry today. He's also one of the best performers and one of the best songwriters. Now, there are some songs you're going to hear me say, the singer's like, why did you had so much better songs, but you released this one. It's nuts, because the first single from that was Just the Way You Are, and here is a little bit of Just the Way You Are. I'm going to play some of that.
When I see your face,
So when Bruno Mars released Just the Way You Are, it kind of made Bruno Mars who he is now. The song went number one. It is right now certified 12 times platinum, which means it sold over 12 million hits. So I'm looking at the track listing right now, and I'm not looking at the bonus tracks or the deluxe edition. I'm looking at the original 10-track album for Doo-Wops and Hooligans, and their read as followed. First is Grenade, Just the Way You Are, Our First Time, Runaway Baby, The Lazy Song, Marry You, Talking to the Moon, Liquor Store Blues with Damian Marley, Count on Me, and The Other Side with CeeLo Green and B.O.B. With Just the Way You Are, I think this was because pop music is different than country music, and it's also different than rock music. You don't really hear a lot of rock songs that are slow. You don't really hear ballads from a rock standpoint on the rock radio. But here's what you do hear. On the pop radio, you do hear sad songs. Now, it is harder to have a sad song put through or a ballad put through to radio. But Just the Way You Are was also a ballad, but it's also an up-tempo ballad. And so when he did that, I think that kind of catapulted to the way he was. Because his second single, Grenade, I'm going to play that here in a bit. You can listen to Grenade. I'm going to catch a grenade for ya. If that was released before Just the Way You Are, because Just the Way You Are, it was so massive when it came out that I don't think Bruno Mars, the first time I hear Bruno Mars would have been as giant as Just the Way You Are if Grenade was released. And here's a little bit of Grenade for you guys right here.
I'd catch a grenade for ya. Throw my hand on a blade for ya. I jump in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya. Oh, I would go through all this pain. Take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby. But you won't do the same.
So when Grenade was released, Grenade also went to number one, but it also is certified diamond. It sold 10.2 million copies to date. You don't hear that, and I know this is 2010, but even in 2010, that was a big deal to sell 10 million albums, or 10 million copies. I don't care if it's albums or singles. It was crazy to even sell that many in that time frame. But kind of when Grenade came out, kind of catapulted Bruno Mars to a different level than Just the Way You Are happened. And you're going to see along here, and I'm just going to do the singles that were released in the United States. But I also want to talk about the album. But I'm going to get through the singles first. And then after Grenade came The Lazy Song, which didn't do too good. Now, it went number 4, and it went 7 times platinum. But if you're looking at the other ones, it didn't hit number 1, which I don't think it matters because it did hit top 5. But how cool would it have been for Bruno Mars to hit a third number 1 right out of the gate? So here, I'm going to play some Lazy Song right now.
I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything, nothing at all. Woo-hoo.
And I remember listening to the Lazy Song and being like, what the fuck is this song about? Just being lazy, not doing anything. And then, I was 12 at the time. And I remember hearing that for the first time with my cousin and being like, what is happening here? The Lazy Song. We're just going to lay here and be lazy. But when you actually listen to it, it's kind of a dirty song, which I find a lot. I didn't realize I'm a big Bruno Mars fan, and you don't realize when you're listening to it, but if you actually stop and listen to it and listen to the words, he has a lot of pervergative, I can't even say that word, derogative songs. He's like, hey, let's have sex, let's do this, I'm going to get naked, lay it till we're naked, baby, which that's going to be on 24 Karat Magic. But when the latest song hit number 4, next to be released in the United States was Marry You. And you guys know I don't play any songs that didn't make the top 25. But Marry You, I think, was the best song from the bunch of the singles that was released. Grenade is probably, I like Just the Way You Are, but I think Just the Way You Are was kind of overhyped a little bit because we were like, this song is so good, which is good, but if you're listening to it, I think Grenade and Marry You kind of beat Just the Way You Are a little bit more. And I wonder, I know I said I think it would have made Bruno Mars even not as big as he would have released Grenade first, just because Just the Way You Are was so big. But being that Grenade is, it's one of his biggest songs, probably the biggest song he's had, I wonder what would have happened if that was released first. You don't never know. So with the album, I'm going to get a different way with these, you guys know. The album cover is basically, you can see it looks like he's walking on a trail, but then if you look, there's a spaceship, and that is the smoke from the spaceship, and a man is walking that path. And it just says, plainly Bruno Mars, doo-wops, and hooligans. So, out of the 10 songs, you guys know I'm a big album cuts type of person. And for this one, I don't think Talking to the Moon is a good one, but if I had to pick, I'm not going to pick an album cut on these, because I just think that they took the better songs from the albums, which every song on here is good, don't get me wrong. Every song on every Bruno Mars album is really good, just because I love I like the path he takes in writing his music and recording them. But I just think that here, I think Marry You and Grenade is possibly the best songs off of Doo-Wops and Hooligans. In September of 2010, Mars was arrested in Las Vegas at Hard Rock Casino for possession of cocaine. He pleaded guilty to felony drug possession. He paid a $2,000 fine, did 200 hours of community service, and completed a drug counseling course. At the 2011 Grammys, Mars won his first Grammy for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance for Just the Way You Are and received 6 other nominations. Locked Out of Heaven was then released on October 1st, 2012 for a sophomore album. At this time, I'm going to talk about Bruno Mars' second album. February 2nd, 2014, Bruno Mars headlined the Super Bowl halftime show. It was the first Super Bowl halftime show to be headlined by a performer under the age of 30 in over a decade. It was the most watched halftime show in the history of the Super Bowl, rating of 115.3 million viewers, which drew more than the actual Super Bowl. At the 2014 Grammys, Bruno Mars won Best Pop Album for Unorthodox Jukebox. In 2013, Mars was named Artist of the Year by Billboard. In October of 2016, 24 Karat Magic, the single, was released as the lead single from his third studio album, 24 Karat Magic. Unorthodox Jukebox was released in 2012, again from Atlantic Records. It reached number 1 on the Billboard 200, and it is 4 times platinum, certified in the United States. There were 5 singles from Unorthodox Jukebox, but only 4 that were released in the United States of America. And the first single from that is Locked Out of Heaven. Now, if you're thinking of Locked Out of Heaven, when I first thought about it, I was like, man, this is going to be a good ballad, and I can't wait to see what Bruno Mars does, because I think he does ballads the best, but also can give you a good high jive type of thing. But Locked Out of Heaven, it made it to number 1, and it went 7 times platinum, which means it sold over 7 million copies, 7 million items, whatever you want to say. You're going to hear me say that a lot. But with it going number 1 and selling over 7 million copies, that's how you know you have a hit on your hands. Even though, because he did go diamond with Grenade, so you knew Bruno Mars was legit. But when you put his second album out and you're like, okay, this one has to be way better than the first album. Because every artist does that. Always says this album has to be better than the original album, or has to be one better than the previous album. And I think that's what he was trying to do here. And man, I honestly, if you took Grenade out of it, forget about how many times platinum the songs went. If you're not looking at that, the sales, if you're looking at how genuinely great these songs are, especially the singles that was released from Unorthodox Jukebox, you have to say that maybe it is a little bit better than Doo-Wops and Hooligans. So let's play a little bit of Locked Out of Heaven, and we'll go on from there.
You make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven for too long, for too long. Yeah, you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven for too long, for too long.
I did not hear. I heard, like I said, I heard the Lazy Song way back in the day from my cousin, but I did not really understand and know who Bruno Mars was until When I Was Your Man came out. Because, like I've said, I grew up listening to country music my whole life, as well as classic rock and a little bit of pop here and there. So I heard Thomas Rhett cover When I Was Your Man, and I said, holy crap. This is probably Thomas Rhett's best song he came out with. And then I realized that it wasn't Thomas Rhett's song. He was doing a cover of Bruno Mars. And I said, oh my goodness. And I think Bruno Mars's version is very, 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 very genuine. And is the best cover. Like, when I say he's doing a cover of himself, like any other person that is covering that song, Bruno Mars, should just stop. They're not even going to make it great. When I Was Your Man from Bruno Mars is possibly the best Bruno Mars song to ever be released. Because you're thinking it's a love song, but then when you listen to it, you're like, man, hey, I'm going to play some of it and I'll talk about it.
Too young, too dumb to realize that I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have gave you all my hours when I had the chance. Take you to every party, cause all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man.
That is a heartbreaker of a song. Oh my goodness. Like, man, When I Was Your Man, I could have done all of this. I could have done every bit of I should have. But you know what? I want this man to do it. I hope he does it because you deserve it. You're everything. And I regret not doing that when I was with you. And man, that just tears people up inside because they're like, everybody knows they've done that once or twice. You want in a relationship, but you actually don't want in it because you don't want to give everything up. And that is what When I Was Your Man was about. And When I Was Your Man wound up going to number one and going 11 times platinum. That has to show something there, that 11 million copies have been sold, which is freaking crazy. Now this next song, before the last single that I'm going to talk about, because like I said, if it doesn't make 25 or lower, I'm not going to talk about it. Made it to 22 and only went platinum once. And remember what I said earlier about just releasing songs and they're being really stupid from Bruno Mars? Gorillaz is one of them. Here is the chorus of Gorillaz, and you tell me if you think it's as stupid as I do. Ah, God. I don't even think I can listen to that song. That is one of the Bruno Mars songs that is really bad. Like, you're gonna bang on your chest and we're gonna have sex like gorillas. How the fuck does a gorilla have sex? I've never sat and watched a gorilla have sex, and that kind of makes me feel a little awkward for Bruno Mars because I don't know what he's looking up at night. But but if we're looking at the album here, The album cover is really, really cool. We see a plain, like a tan background, and there is a jukebox sitting there, and there is a bear kind of hugging the jukebox and picking a song out. It's clearly Bruno Mars' Unorthodox Jukebox. And if I'm looking at the album track here, if I'm looking at the track listing, again, just the regular track listing, no deluxe or bonus tracks. There is, again, 10 songs, which I think is a great mix of songs. If you have 10 songs, I don't think that's too much. I don't think that's too little. I think that's just right. And I think Mars knows that as well. But if we're looking at the songs here, Young Girls, Locked Out of Heaven, Gorilla, Treasure, Moonshine, When I Was Your Man, Natalie, looked like Natalia to me, Show Me, Money Make Her Smile, and If I Knew. Again, all these songs are good, except for Gorilla. But I think When I Was Your Man is the best song on the album. I don't know what it is. I think Bruno Mars takes the best songs from the album and puts them out as singles because he knows they're going to do just that. Late 2016, Mars started a second concert residency called Bruno Mars at Park MGM. He received 7 awards at the 2017 American Music Awards. He received Artist of the Year, 2 awards for That's What I Like, 2 other awards for 24 Karat Magic. He then won Album/Mixtape of the Year at the 2017 Soul Train Music Awards, with 4 other awards. At the 2018 Grammys, Bruno Mars won Album of the Year, Best R&B Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best R&B Performance, and the Best R&B Song. Bruno has since released and collaborated with different artists and acted in different types of movies and produced the movie's soundtracks. As we fast forward to 2021, Mars and Anderson .Paak announced they started a band and recorded an album under the name Silk Sonic, which will be released later this year. What is next for Bruno Mars? When we're going to have a 4th official album from Bruno Mars? The world and Mars may never know. Almost 4 years to the day, we get a 3rd and so far final of Bruno Mars so far in 2021. We get a new album, and it's called 24 Karat Magic, or 24K Magic if you want to be exact. So it came out in 2016, again from Atlantic Records. It only hit number 2 on the Billboard 200s. It went 3 times platinum in the United States. 5 singles total, but only 4 released in the United States of America. Here's the first single from that, called 24K Magic.
What y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Head to toe, so clear. Look out!
I remember the song being big for just a small amount of time, and it just kind of went away. And I think besides Gorilla, that this is possibly the worst Bruno Mars single to be released. To me, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's just like a Bruno Mars song, because now we're getting into 2016. This is where pop music is kind of hitting its low. And it's where, okay, it doesn't matter what the song's about, as long as the vibe's good and it has a catchy chorus, then that's really all that matters. And I think Bruno Mars kind of hit that a little bit, even though the album is really good. This is not the best song or the best single from the album. And 24 Karat Magic went to number 4 and got 5 times platinum. So they're selling like hotcakes, but they're just not. Sure, it's a top 5 single, but it's just not doing as well as the other ones have been doing when they've been going number 1, number 1, number 1, number 1. You know, number 4. He'll stall at number 4 sometimes, and then the rest will go number 1, except for on this album. If I'm looking at this, my notes, Bruno Mars only has 1 number 1 song single from 24K Magic. and the other two more have went to the top 5. One went to the bottom 3, and then the other one just stalled out at a low number, which I'm going to play because it happens to be my favorite song on the album. But like I said, 24 Karat Magic, I remember it being a big thing for a while, and then it just phasing out. And then came the one everybody was like, okay, all right, Bruno Mars, here we go. And that's what I like.
Gold jewelry shining so bright, strawberry champagne on us. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Sex by the fire at night, silk sheets and diamonds, all white. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like.
This is the only single on 24 Karat Magic to go number 1, and it also was certified diamond. Not platinum this time. The other ones have been going platinum, and this one, he only has 2 diamond. Oh, shit, 2 diamond. And damn, that's a lot. 20 million albums sells right there. But again, I just think these are not the best songs of Bruno Mars. My personal opinion, these songs are not good. And I think the album cover kind of went down as well. And we'll talk about that after I get through with the singles. But that's what I like. Obviously, people loved it. It went number 1, and it went diamond. And then a third album was released. A third single was released from this album. And it's Versace on the Floor. And it happens to be my favorite Bruno Mars song, possibly, besides When I Was Your Man. And it only went number 33 on the charts. Didn't even hit top 25 or even top 30. And it only sold 1 time platinum. So here we go. Here's a little bit of my favorite Versace on the Floor.
Baby, let's just turn down the lights and close the door. Ooh, I love that dress, but you won't need it anymore. No, you won't need it no more. Let's just kiss till we're naked, baby. Versace on the floor.
And I know what everyone's going to say. You were just complaining that he was talking about sex. No, I wasn't. I was saying you didn't realize how much he talks about it. But the reason this is my favorite Bruno Mars song besides When I Was Your Man is because this sounds so much like Michael Jackson that it's just absolutely nuts. This sounds exactly how Michael Jackson would sing. This sounds exactly... I mean, it's crazy how much you hear Michael Jackson in this. Now that I said that, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to play that 15-second chorus here of Versace on the Floor. And I want you to picture Michael Jackson singing it.
Baby, let's just turn down the lights and close the door. Ooh, I love that dress, but you won't need it anymore. No, you won't need it no more. Let's just kiss till we're naked, baby. Versace on the floor.
I'm also going to go back to when I said Bruno Mars has released some stupid songs in a day, and this last one is really dumb. Finesse. I remember when this was just a couple of years ago. This thing was giant. You had Cardi B, you had the big music video, you had it playing on every freaking social media 12 times a day. This Finesse was big. I don't know what finesse means. Okay? It's crazy. It's a dumb song, but it's also the jam that's a dumb song. So, you see for yourself. I want to play some Finesse.
Hey, out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know it, you know it. Out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know it, you know it.
Finesse only went to number 3. As big as the song was, only went top 3. And it's 4 times platinum. So, there we have it. All three of Bruno Mars' albums. Now, what's the best Bruno Mars album? Well, in my opinion, the best Bruno Mars album is... Listen to the end of the episode to catch that and figure out what my favorite... I want you guys to think while I give you more information on Bruno Mars and his future and his past and his present. And I'll catch you guys at the very end of the show. You figure out what's my favorite Bruno Mars album. My favorite album from Bruno Mars, in my opinion, the best, is Unorthodox Jukebox. So many songs, so many better songs. But if you're looking technically at the business side of it, Doo-Wops and Hooligans is the best Bruno Mars album. I appreciate you guys listening in for today's episode. Hope it's cool. Hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think. If you would, just go follow me on Instagram at I am Mr. Dylan Hodge. And go follow the podcast at the Hodgepodge Podcast. Leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening to. Don't leave a 3rd or 4th or a 2nd star or a 1st star. Leave me 5 stars. Here we go. Thanks for listening and enjoy. And as always, frown less.